So, welcome everybody to our midweek Oasis service here at the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. I'd like to shout out and say, hello, beloved church family. I'm so glad you all decided to join us tonight. My name is Paul Pursuti, and I'll be your host tonight. As you'll be able to experience, our Wednesday night Oasis is a place where we come together as a community to be spiritually refreshed between Sundays. Most Wednesday night services build upon the theme of the previous Sunday, sharing in a satsang style, expressing science of mind principles and practices with the intention that these gatherings be informal, intimate, and interactive. Our annual theme for 2023 is Living Out Loud. Our monthly theme for November is the mundane, the sacred, and the profane. Oh my. Last Sunday, Reverend Sunshine Michelle Coleman introduced ideas inspired by the talk title of The Mundane, Sigh. And tonight our speaker will continue the exploration of the same topic. So as we gather tonight, I really want to welcome you. Early in her ministry with us, Reverend Sunshine Michelle invited us to come to the center well. And to do so, she shared these 6 C's for us to consider and incorporate. Come with a heart of love and tenderness, and she calls that compassion. Come ready to exchange openly, communication. Come in friendship and family, camaraderie. Come in harmony and ready to share. We call that communion. Come in partnership and cooperation, collaboration. And finally, come in spiritual awareness and truth, consciousness. So as we move into our program tonight, these 6 C's are the premise of sharing a wonderful evening with you. Now, if you're new to our community, please visit our homepage, www.oaklandcsl.org, and click on the I'm New icon and look at the lower left-hand corner of that page to submit your email address. Once you do, you'll begin receiving the Village News newsletter once a week in your email. It has all the information on what is happening at the center in the coming weeks. Before we get started with the talk, please mute your own audio microphone during tonight's service. You can leave the camera on. When you mute your own audio microphone, it will improve the quality of our recording and tonight's transmission. So please stay tuned through to the end of the service to receive special and important announcements. So, who is speaking tonight? And he's going to do a little twist on what Reverend Sunshine did on Sunday, and he's calling it the mundane and the ordinary. So our speaker is Practitioner Christopher Brown. He's also, as well as a practitioner, he works with me around the facility. We kind of co-lead it together, and we do a lot of construction work together at the center. And he's also a very, very wonderfully received and revered speaker at many spiritual centers throughout the Bay Area. So we're really honored and blessed to have Christopher be with us as our speaker tonight. Now, before we start, as we do with every organized event at the center, we open with prayer. So Christopher, will you be doing the honors tonight?
I've actually asked Alice Herndon to do the honors, and she has graciously said yes.
Alice, you need to unmute, darling.
Thank you. Oh, hi. Thank you. I can't spotlight. Oh, there. I can spotlight myself. No, I can't spotlight myself. So, okay. Why don't you just take a deep breath with me? Just breathe in the present moment. Just breathe in the love, breathe in the oneness. We are one with the one, and we are one with all. And it is a wonderful feeling. I'd just like to take this time to give thanks for this time together, this time with the speaker, Christopher Brown, and with each other. I give blessings to this time we share and know that it will be wonderful, that it is a perfect time. And if you agree with me, please join me in saying, and so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you, Alice. Well, we're going to continue with the topic of mundane. And it's a word that doesn't really resonate to me that well. It's sort of, I don't know, it's a word I don't use. Ordinary, boring, that seems not very exciting. Those words resonate to me. So we're going to be talking about what's it like when we are in those zones, when we actually fall into boredom or the mundane, or it's just not fun. And the words of Shakespeare come to mind. And what he says, nothing is neither right nor wrong, only thinking makes it so. And so, if we listen to what those words really mean, there's nothing right or wrong. If we ask the trees, what's right and wrong? Or the cat, what's right and wrong? The cat, that's irrelevant. It just is. But humans have a tendency to put a label on things. So, when we look at right and wrong, or boring or mundane, is that particular circumstance really boring, or is it boring to you at that particular point in time? And I'm going to suggest that there is no such thing as mundane or extraordinary or boring or even spirituality. If you were to take all those labels away, it wouldn't affect reality at all. A rose would still be a rose, even if you didn't call it a rose. You could call it a tennis shoe. It would still smell like a rose, or what we know as a rose. Okay, so I know I'm splitting up these hairs, but we have to take a look at, is it the circumstances that are causing us to be bored? Like my grandkids would say, oh, this is so boring, there's nothing to do. Or is it the way that they're approaching the circumstances? Now, it's kind of an easy one to answer. You think about yourself. When I hear the grandkids say, I'm bored, what immediately comes up to my mind is, wow, you're not very creative. And that's my judgment that comes up. But if you think about it, how can life be boring if my focus is open? Because there is so much wonder and awe in even the palm of my hand. How could anything become other than amazing? However, the mind likes to funnel down and focus in on a particular moment. It's designed to do that. And then to judge and evaluate it. And to say, you know, I'm not having a good time. I'm not dancing. I don't feel enthused. I don't feel excited. I want to feel something different than I'm feeling right now. And here's the rub. We start making demands on life. I want life to show up the way I want it to show up, not the way life's actually showing up. And the difference between the way reality shows up and the way I want reality to show up, the difference between those can be vast. And that's what causes the upset. Now, when they show up together, like reality and my expectation of what's going to happen are right on, there's no upset. I'm fine. Everything's great. But when I run into the traffic jam, I didn't expect the traffic jam. I'm going to be late to something, And all of a sudden, my world's turned upside down. I'm now in upset. It's the same, but we can take a look at the various ways that the ordinary or the boring shows up in our lives. And if we take a look, oftentimes that boring hooks us, and we think that it shouldn't be happening. We think that I shouldn't be feeling this way. I shouldn't be feeling uninspired. I shouldn't be feeling lethargic. I shouldn't be feeling this. I shouldn't be feeling that. And now the question is, what evidence do you have that you shouldn't be feeling that way? That that's just the way the organism programmed itself, in a sense. I'm going to call it the trance of habituation. We become habituated to having our way, to having our comfort zone, and to operating within that comfort zone. And as soon as we're pushed out of the comfort zone, as soon as we don't have control over our comfort zone, we don't like it. At least, I'll speak for myself. I don't like it. But I've also come to see that it's perhaps those moments are the most precious, when we're pushed out of our comfort zone, when things don't go our way, when we become bored and have an opportunity to look perhaps a little deeper. For me, I noticed this when I was at Trader Vic's at a party where the participants at the party were consuming a lot of alcohol, and they were having a wonderful time. Being a non-drinker, I wasn't able to follow them in their revelry, and I was bored and I wanted out of there. And so I was getting upset. I just didn't like what was happening. And I thought, oh, how I'm trapped here. I can't get out of here. This is, And then I realized, and this is where the trance of habituation would tell me, you need to stay at the party, their party's here, you need to put on a good face and grit and grind your way through this. And I thought, wow, who made that up? Can I break the trance? And so, with the next thought, it's like, do I really want to be here? The answer is no. Can I go outside? Sure, I can. So with that next thought, I got up from the table, excused myself, and walked outside. It's a beautiful moon night. It was near the water in Emeryville, and I looked at the moon reflection on the water, and it's like, oh, wow. My whole, everything became magical. Everything changed. So, yes, the environment changed. I changed one environment to another, and I vibed to that environment, and I wasn't vibing to the other environment. And if we can see that when we're stuck, suffering occurs. When we get really stuck, and when we can't see another possibility, we can get really stuck. And that's really what suffering is when we get stuck in only kind of like one viewpoint, one outcome, when there's so many different outcomes. And so we have to look, is it the circumstances that drive us crazy, or that drives me crazy? Is it my circumstances, or is it my relationship to my circumstances? Now, there were people at the party that were really enjoying themselves, that were having a great time. Those were the circumstances. To me, that was not a good time. And so, do we know ourselves well enough to actually see and feel there's a suffering going on? I don't like what's going on. Is it possible to widen my focus and to see greater possibilities? That I actually can walk outside, that I can do something else. And so you think about the times that you stuck it out, and you muscled through, and perhaps you didn't have to. Perhaps you could politely excuse yourself and do something different. Let's get back to the grandkids. They're sitting in the back seat. I don't want to go there. I'm bored. What are we going to do? Blah, blah, blah. Some of you know exactly those words. The thing is with kids, they're more easily distracted. You can start saying, well, we're going to play a game. And a game comes up. The younger the kid, sometimes you can shine car keys, wiggle car keys, and that'll calm them down. But when they get to a certain age, you can start playing games. But the idea is to shift the circumstances or how the circumstances are viewed. We get this opportunity to be together. We can do a song. Let's tell a story. And that's the favorite thing we do. Is I'll start a story, then I'll turn the story on, and they need to complete and carry the story forward. And all of a sudden, I am bored turns into giggles and fun, and everything shifts. We're still driving in the car, but now our focus is perhaps on creativity, on communication, on being together. And there's connection there. So, we've got to take a look. Is it the circumstances that are causing our boredom or causing us to view life as the mundane? Or is it my relationship to it or my lack of creativity in the moment? And so when I feel myself being bored, I go, oh, that's the sign. That's the sign for the breakthrough, for the shift. And the shift I'm talking about is widening the focus. Basically, it's widening the focus. I'm focused on life being a certain way, and I'm missing so much. We're going to be doing a quick little breakout room because I want you to get a sense and a feel for, as you look into your life, I'd like you to come up with 3 examples of boring moments or mundane or ordinary moments that just, there's that sigh or the reluctance to move forward. It's just, it's like walking in peanut butter. Just don't want to do it. So, when Peter breaks you out, you're going to be broken out into groups of 3, and in your groups, you'll be sharing 3 different situations where you find it's kind of upsetting. It's just boring. And then, if you have enough time, you can start taking a look at what in those moments isn't being seen, or what are other possibilities that could happen within those moments. So the first part of the exercise is to label 3, what we'll call them boring, ordinary, or mundane moments. And the second part is what are you not seeing? What could actually be different in those moments? How could you break that trance of habituation? You got it? Okay. So Peter, if you could break us out.
Okay, here we go.
Thank yourself and thank your wonderful, you might want to unmute yourself and thank your wonderful partners.
Thank you, wonderful
Thank you, my
partners.
partners.
Thank you.
Good
Thank you.
and good.
So, what was noticed? What was noticed when you brought up those 3 things or the 2 things that you came up with about what hooked you, and what hooked you in such a way that there was suffering? Your relationship to your circumstance. What did you notice? Was it, first off, was it hard to come up with them? Number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Were you? But you do recognize you get hooked. Interesting. You know, the mind is pretty tricky. Oh, I don't get hooked. Oh, yes, we do. So who would like to share on what are some of the the ways that we're hooked, that the circumstances pop up and they hook us. And I can start by saying, for me, traffic that just isn't moving and hasn't moved for 5 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Who else? What are some of the hooks?
So that's a situation. So situation.
But we had a just like you said, Christopher, we talked more about what is boring than anything. There was 4 of us in our group, and Grady kind of, as always, is our anchor in any of our groups, and what we came up with was the cycle of it all.
Mhm.
And Grady, correct me if I'm wrong, you said, and Sohn and Dr. Judith, we determined that the idea of boring is a cycle of events. Like we go from resistance, like you described, then we go to frustration, and then that leads to procrastination.
Mhm.
That's what we came up with in our group.
I think she
Good.
switched it around at the end too. I think she said that frustration could possibly lead to resistance and then lead to procrastination. And I think that is good also.
Yes, I agree. Those are the 3 elements that we felt were relative.
Mhm. Well, good. Thank you for that. Who else would like to share? Some of the hooks, some of the circumstances that that hook us.
I can say something.
Sure.
For me, one of the things that I find myself just fighting sometimes is that I just don't want to get up and take a shower and brush my teeth and do the same old thing that I do every day over and over and over again, right? And then what came to me was it's the resistance. I just get into this resistance and I'm fighting it. And that what helps me a lot is if I can start to laugh at myself. You know, really, why? What's the big deal? You know? How long are you gonna suffer, right? Just let go a little bit. But so humor is really good for me. Like when I get stuck, if I can start to laugh at myself, it starts to go better.
Beautiful. I hope everybody heard that. That's beautiful. Yeah. The laughter can break the trance. It's not serious. Who else? The hooks. Come on, people. You've got hook. Ah, Freya.
One big thing for me is social conversations where it's just trivia being talked about. It's driven me crazy for years, but now I'm like I said in our small group, I'm moving from judgment to curiosity. And when you get into curiosity, there are endless numbers of things to be noticing, and when you're talking to people, and even family or friends.
Ah, beautiful. Thank you. Who else? Before we move on. Okay, I'm not seeing anybody jumping in there. Okay. Susan.
Yeah. Well, speaking of grandkids, one of the things is when they're just being kids and being noisy and everything. Instead of me trying to one thing I tried today, because they were here today, and is instead of saying stop that blah, and all of that, trying to calm them down, I started being crazier than they were.
Really?
And that stopped the whole thing. What? So
being creative and doing something unexpected. Sometimes it works.
It broke the trance.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
There was a true story Carolyn Mace told one time about a man. This is a Navajo code talker, World War II. And these were anyway, if you know about the code talkers, they were they had a language that couldn't be broken by the enemy, our enemies. And so they were very valuable in information passing on. And the man's name was Chetlahay. And when he came back, he would be just diagnosed today as post-traumatic stress, shell shock. He was in really bad shape. And he came home and his life had no color. There was no feeling of belonging. He had lost his will to live. And his family and his neighbors noticed this about him. They were trying to get him help, and he wouldn't. Help was out of the question. And so the elders came together and they decided on a plan. And the plan was to take him out in the lake and throw him into the lake at night. And the lake was very cold, and to leave him there to die. And either he would find himself and find his spirit and find his will to live and a meaning in life, or he would die. And they were willing to take that chance. So in their profound wisdom, they put him in the boat and they rowed him out there and they told him what they were going to do, and then they threw him in the lake. And there was something about breaking the trance, the cold water, the dark night, and the body took over, the will to live kicked in, and he started to swim. And he started to yell because the elders were rowing away. They were not messing around. And he basically had to swim after them and beg them to pick him up and to save him. And it was very close, and he shivered all the way back to shore. As a result of that, his whole life changed. He became an elder himself. He was became an activist and a spokesman for the tribe. And it was like, what happened? But the trance was broken. What he considered to be so ordinary, the life that there was no meaning, all of a sudden, it now had meaning. He could breathe, he could walk, he could watch a sunset, he could see children, he could hear laughter. All of those things were not available to him in his prior state. Something had shut down. Now he was curious with life. And so the shift happens. And we're all invited to shift anytime that we're stuck. And that's what our next exercise is going to be about. You're going to be recalling a time when you got stuck and something came along and a shift happened. The shift for me would be that story when I was at Trader Vic's, when I discovered that I could go outside. I didn't have to stay and endure the people that I was with. I could change my circumstances. For Chetlahay, it was reconnecting with his spirit and the fact that he had the blessing of a body, that he really wasn't the wounded, broken person that he thought he was. So pick one instance where it's something, you were within something and a shift happened. It was probably something, it could be something as washing the dishes, and all of a sudden you started to feel your hands and go, how are my hands washing these dishes? How is this happening? And the feeling of the soap and the texture of the water and the whole, it's like waking up out of the trance, our habitual trance, Or if you've ever woken up tying your shoe and going, how the hell am I tying this shoe? My hands know exactly what to do, but I don't know how they're doing it. That would be waking up out of the trance of habituation. Magic happens every time we wake up. We realize that we're so on automatic and that there is so much more than just our rote. So you're going to be having another wonderful group. This time it'll be 8 minutes. And Peter's going to break us out. Enjoy. Going to thank your wonderful partners.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. So we have time for 1 or 2 quick little shares. What did you learn about your own turnaround or your own curiosity that shifted something? Who wants to speak to that? First off, does curiosity tend to shift things? Anybody can unmute. It's all yours.
Yeah,
This
I
is-
think for this is the lean-in principle that y'all hear me talk about it all the time is becoming aware and becoming curious about what the situation has to offer me. I'm aware that I'm bored. I'm aware that I'm in judgment. I'm aware that I'm upset and I'm angry. And once I can calm down, that I ask like, well, what's in here for me? Because there must be something hidden in all that pile of manure that I'm looking at.
Mm.
There's a pony in there.
The pony.
It's gotta be.
Gotta be a pony.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Mhm.
I shared something real quick with my team, and it light bulb went on for me, Christopher. So I think I'll share it real quick. Sometimes we get in a rut, and we don't know we're in a rut, and then it may be a good rut, but it's still a rut, and we don't, and we take the same route and we're still in the rut every day, and then other things will kind of pile up on it into your rut, but you're still in the rut. And it wasn't until I changed, I had a situation where I had to get out of that rut, and all it meant was instead of going out my front door every day, I went out the back door instead, and it changed everything. Something
Wow.
that
That's cool.
I grab Deb if you seem, and Freya if you want to say anything else too, but a rut doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad situation. It just right. Anyways, that's
it's
a good way of saying it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Paul. That's good. Let me just quickly wrap this up. Becoming curious is really, really important here. And I think the real shift happens was when we start noticing that we're always looking for a better moment. We're rarely ever satisfied with what we have right now. We want a better moment, a better deal, a closer relationship, and we negate the fact that we already have fabulous relationships. We already have sufficiency in so many areas, and we miss it because we're grasping for more. The Buddhists would call this the hungry ghosts of desire. We're looking for more. And so when we actually take a look at what we have and we count our blessings, when we're appreciative and give gratitude for what we do have, rather than for what we want, something happens. We start to settle in such a way, our heart starts to fill with gratitude for what we have. And it's that grateful heart that is the attractive quality that attracts more to that grateful heart. So the shift really is from looking at the glass that doesn't have anything in it to the glass that is full, and looking beyond that and getting curious to the fact that the glass can be filled and unfilled all the time the glass is an amazing vehicle. And so if we notice that we can focus on what we do have and appreciate that. And I'll end with this fortune cookie that has been my talisman for 50 years probably, and it's uncherished gifts vanish. Meaning if you do not cherish what you have, you won't see it anymore, and it just as well be gone. So this is getting back to the mundane. The mundane is where the precious lives, and it's right before us if we have eyes to see. Thank you for your attention. I enjoyed this very, very much.
Yes, thank you. That's great.
Thank you, Christopher.
Thank you, everybody. Right. Mundane is where the precious, it's a good chat. Thank you, Reverend Sunshine, today. The mundane is where the precious lives, the sacred. How wonderful, Christopher. Thank you for reminding all of us of that. Let's show our appreciation if we go to gallery view and let Christopher know how much we appreciate him. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
So we're going to move into our some announcements. We have some things that are going on, some things you may not know about. Peter, when you're ready, we have a PowerPoint for you. And this Sunday is Reverend Jerry Carter will be in the pulpit, and she'll be speaking about the part 2, the sacred, the mundane, the sacred, our theme, the mundane, the sacred, and the profane, oh my. So you know where the talks are going. The sacred is what Reverend Jerry's going to talk about this Sunday, November 12th. Meditation is at 10 and service is at 10:30. Next Wednesday, November 15th, Practitioner Dylan McClintock continues the discussion on the mundane. Meditation is at 6:30. No, wait a minute. He's going to be doing the sacred. See, I'm getting out of my rut of doing my notes. I made a mistake. Y'all can write it down on your calendar. Paul made a mistake. Next Wednesday, November 15th, our beloved Dylan McClintock will be talking on the sacred. Our Wednesdays start with meditation at 6:30 and 7 o'clock by Zoom. The evening of blessings is this Friday, November 10th from 6:30 to 8:30. If you've been missing this wonderful event, or if you've never been, make sure to come prepared to be showered with blessings and prayers by our practitioners. Remember to bring a photo of someone who has transitioned to put on the Dia de los Muertos altar this Sunday. We're celebrating this Sunday. So if you have a picture you'd like to share on the altar, please bring it. If you live out of town, don't drive at night, or for some other reason aren't able to make it to the Together We Shine concert in person, you can now purchase an online ticket and watch virtually. You'll get the private link to watch on YouTube, and you can virtually join with everyone watching in the sanctuary. Dance in the sanctuary, dance at home, just dance. Get your tickets to the Friday, November 17th music concert now. The link is on our events page of our website. And if you're attending in person, there will be cash-only light refreshments available to purchase and enjoy at the intermission and after the event. So bring a little pocket change with you too if you're coming. We now have an amazing lineup of vendors for our Sunday, December 3rd holiday craft fair. Make sure to put the date on your calendar and be ready to explore the many artisan crafted wares ready for your purchase. The center will be closed on Thursday and Friday, November 23rd and 24th for the Thanksgiving holiday. So enjoy the day of gratitude with your family and friends. There will not be a Thanksgiving meal at the center this year. Look at this wonderful team of people that support us in so many arenas at the center. There's so much happening at the center, including workshops, classes, and more. Please visit our website at oaklandcsl.org and sign up for our weekly newsletter. the Village News. Remember to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook for special updates and content you'll only find by liking and subscribing to Oakland Center. Please like us and subscribe to Oakland Center today. So in this moment of gratitude, where uncherished gifts will vanish unless we cherish them, I'm thinking of joyous giving in this moment of gratitude that Christopher talked about. It's that little shift. Time, treasure, and talent are the gifts that we offer our center. So whatever your gift is to the center, just hold it close to your heart in this moment and follow along as I read our blessing for tonight. Divine love is me, blesses and multiplies this offering. It blesses all that I am, all that I give, and all that I circulate. Thank you, love as me. And if you're inclined to donate, you can do that on our website. Click that donate heart button thing you see there. And once you do it, it will reveal 5 different ways that you can contribute to our center financially. You can do credit card, mail, Zelle, text, or you can join us in the Sunday service live and participate in putting it in our offering basket. So continuing this idea of gratitude for all the wonderful things we have at the center, let's look at them real close in our hearts and appreciate them. Get out of the mundane realization that we're just going to church. We have a beautiful center, a beautiful space, a wonderful senior minister, wonderful practitioners and laity and service people. I'm just grateful. And those also I want to be grateful for tonight are the folks that helped put this on. I want to thank Susan Urquhart Brown for the meditation and Alice Herndon for the opening prayer. Also want to recognize Christopher Brown again for shifting our mundane state. I want to say hello to Reverend Deb in Savannah. Wish Reverend Sally Bartholomew a very happy birthday today. Reverend Ike is here, or was for a minute, so I want to recognize her and our beloved Reverend Dr. Sunshine Michelle Coleman. Thank you, Reverend Sunshine, for being with us tonight. Now, none of this happens by accident. It's all divine appointments. And these divine appointees, and they're divine, every one of them make it happen for us on Wednesday night. Our lead on PowerPoint and a lot of the Zoom stuff behind the scenes, Peter Gum up in Portland tonight. So thank you, Peter. Also, our double Alice's, Alice Squared, Alice Herndon and Alice Knudsen, doing stuff in the background and taking care of us. And also our wonderful administrator, Constance Chapman, that gives us all the pieces that we can put together. So thank you guys for making this a successful evening. So to seal this evening tonight, Christopher has asked his beloved Susan Urquhart Brown to close us in prayer tonight. Susan, are you ready?
Before you go, Paul, can I just add one quick thing that wasn't in the announcements, that we are starting, I've been talking about opening the sanctuary, and so the Practitioner Leadership Council let me know that we're going to start at the week of Thanksgiving on Tuesdays and Thursdays, including on Thanksgiving Day, between 11 and 1. If you want to come sit, especially since some people don't have family to be with and they might want to come sit and contemplate, they can do so in the sanctuary. And stay tuned, because I'm really going to have us work on a virtual option too for people who want to be in contemplation and prayer. Thank you.
Oh, yay, yay, yay. More to follow, right, in detail. So thank you, Reverend Sunshine. Can't wait for that. I'm looking forward to that. Okay, Susan Urquhart Brown, Practitioner of Magnificence. Are you ready to close us in prayer?
Yes, I just had to unmute.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So let's take a breath. And I'd like to invite everyone, knowing that we are one with the fabulous one, to give yourself a big hug for being exactly who you are and saying, wow, tonight I discovered how absolutely fabulous I am. And just taking this into our own hearts, accepting and knowing who and what we are and whose we are. And we are not mundane. We are exciting, interesting people who are on this path, this beautiful path of discovery, of love, of creating peace and creating joy in the world. So I bless everyone who took part in this service today, especially Christopher Brown for his talk and leading us into seeing how fabulous we actually are. And very, very grateful for everyone who had anything to do with this service. So many hands create such a beautiful service every Wednesday. I am so grateful. And for this and the more, please join with me in saying, and so it is.
So it is.
And
Um,
so it is.
Is.